All right, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD, and we have a phenomenal episode for you today of Otaku Talk. We will be reviewing and analyzing chapter 228 of Dr. Stone. We are finally here. We finally know the identity of why, man. And I'm so excited to get into this review. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to analyze and theorize about. And I also want to talk about, the how people's predictions panned out. So, before we get into that, if this is your first time on this channel, or you've been here before but haven't done so, do me a solid. Please like, share, and subscribe. And can I just take a second to say thank each and every single one of you that checked out my video last week, that viewed, that subscribed. I'm gonna tell you, I went from having 6 to 10 views on videos per average, and then some of my other videos, 100, to out of nowhere, my last video on Dr. Stone having 2,000 views. That's incredible for me. So thank you guys so much. Now, I do know that, Dr. Stone is kind of an underrated underground manga, and I'm one of a few people covering it, but still, it means the world to me to hit those kind of numbers. So hopefully we can do it again. Anyway, without much further ado, let's get into this review. All right, so chapter 228 of Dr. Stone. We finally have the identity of Y-Man. It's the Medusas themselves. Anyone who had that on their bingo card, mark it off. So something I want to say is technically I was right. And I'm going to take this as a dub. I don't care how you feel about it. I'm taking this as a dub for myself because I said that, in my opinion, it is one of two things, if not both, aliens or AI. And technically, the Medusas are both. And I think it's kind of funny, kind of clever how the Medusas are Dr. Stone themselves, like Taiju called them earlier. The Medusas are Dr. Stone. So that's incredible. Now, something I do want to talk about is, even though we know the quote unquote identity of the Medusas, we don't know who the Medusas are and what they are. And when I say who and what they are, I'm talking about, like, let's hold on. Let's hold on for that. So first off, let me start by saying the one thing I feel super stupid about. This is the only and one thing, and that's the fact that I should have known that the dark spot on the moon was just a radar sonar, like, blind spot. The way they were describing it in the manga made me feel like, no, there was like some kind of like presence, and then like the way Boichi was doing the drawings with the like dark specter and like the clouds and stuff, I thought it was some kind of, well, I was gonna say tangible, but not actually tangible, but some kind of like some force, something in the atmosphere, right? Some kind of matter, dark matter, something, right? And so I am a little bit annoyed that it was represented like that, but I do think it makes a lot of sense why they weren't able to properly see it on their cameras. They weren't properly able to analyze it because, as we were told way earlier in the series, the Medusas can be used to, block radio waves and signals and stuff like that. So it makes all the sense in the world that they were unable to detect it, to see it. And so kudos to Boichi on that. That was very, very clever, right? So basically, somehow, some way, the Medusa that was in the capsule that they had is just floating above them and talking to them. Also, I just want to say this explains a lot. It seems like they do have some kind of self-levitation propulsion system. So it explains how they just come out of nowhere randomly and are able to rain down on civilizations, right? Also, something I found to be extraordinarily interesting is the fact that, even though I do believe them to be a form of hive mind, they do seem to have individual, what's the word I'm looking for? Thoughts or personalities. The reason I say this is, for the majority of the chapter, the Medusa in the capsule is what is talking to Senku and them. Also, for I thought that the Medusas themselves could not talk because I thought like the reason that the capsule was speaking was simply because that one had a built-in speaker that the Medusa was hacking or utilizing the radio waves to communicate to them via. But then it seems like I'm not sure what really happened here. I'm really confused what really happened here. Let me know in the comments what you think. But there's a part where we see the diamond battery of the floating Medusa start to do that click, which is basically, the signature sound that the Medusa is about to go off. We see Ryus, no, was not Ryusui. Was it Ryu? No, not Ryusui. I think it's Tsukasa getting ready to fire the grenade launcher that's going to destroy the Medusa. And then you see this other Medusa, who I'm just gonna assume is the chief Medusa. Let's just go with that. And that's basically like, hold on with that. And at first, I thought a couple things. One, at first I thought it was the capsule saying that, and then I thought, well, at first I thought it was the capsule saying that, but then I realized that the speech bubble was connected to like the Medusa to like behind the capsule, right? Also, there's like a dot dot dot, I believe so. There's like a dot 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 with the capsule one. So it's as if the capsule one was about to just on its own just detonate. And then like the leader Medusa was like, no, chill. We're not doing that right now. And so it just it backed off. And so I originally thought when it was like stop, chill, it was talking to Tsukasa, but then maybe it could have just been talking to its other Medusa brother, right? So that's really interesting. So they're asking like why are you doing this? Like why is this happening? And they get the response of, do you want to die? And so Chrome, I think it's Chrome, right? It's either Chrome or Taiju. One of them says what I have been saying for a large part of this series, which is maybe the Medusas are here to save humanity, right? But that just does not quite compute in a way. It's like, okay, in what way, shape, or form is what they're doing going to save humanity, right? Um, and so that's around the time where, Jen proposes, usually when, meeting with a new nation or a civilization, or something like that, it's customary, traditional to bring about a gift. And so based upon, their adherence to life and what they've kind of been saying, Senku kind of surmises that, hey, life is just as important to you guys as it is to us. So let's make a deal. If you can stop freaking trying to petrify us every opportunity you get, I will provide batteries for you and your kind for you to live. Which, by the way, I think it's kind of stupid. I'm kind of hoping that Senku is just, playing it smart, playing his cards right, just making sure that they survive this trip so that they do have a chance to like kind of go back, huddle up, and figure out where to go from here. But I think that is the stupidest thing ever because these things have already displayed that they are way more advanced. You know nothing about them or their true motivations. And not only have they been fucking you up pretty much while dying, but you're going to restore them to full power. It's like Goku giving Cell a sensu bean, like, oh, I see you're struggling. Here you go. Let me help you out. Doesn't quite check out for me. Maybe Senku is being naive, or maybe he's planning something. Maybe, they might, finesse the crystal so that if they do try to betray them, the battery dies, or they do something that makes, the humans vital and that they cannot, get rid of, right? So this still brings about so many questions because basically by the end of the chapter, what we are told or, expected to believe, and I don't think the Medusas say this. I think this is just all something, once again, Senku surmised, is that they need the humans to survive, and their actions have been towards advancing human civilization to the point where they can save them, and that they are, mechanical parasites. Which, by the way, this leads me back to what I was saying earlier in the chapter where I was like, we know the identity of white men, but we don't know who Y-Man is and what Y-Man is. And when I say by what Y-Man is, I'm saying like, well, let me start with the who. It's hard to know which one to start with. Let's go with who. Are they purely AI? Or I have a secret theory that maybe they're an advanced civilization that realized the best way for them to continue the race, for them to stay alive, was to download put their subconscious on their consciousness inside these Medusa devices and powered by these crystals so that they can quote unquote live forever, more or less, right? So that's kind of one theory I had. So like they're not actually AI, but it's kind of a Black Mirror-esque kind of thing where you download your subconsciousness into these Medusa devices, right? So that's one thing. Another thing is, maybe they simply are just an alien AI. But then, if that's the case, where are the alien AI that created them? Did they die? Were they wiped out? Were the Medusas created to be, like the title says, a life stone, but something happened, or the Medusas betrayed them? There's so many questions to be asked here. Also, in terms of what are the Medusas, like what materials are they made of? Because like Senku said when he was working and tinkering with them before, e- they're an unknown element that are not native to Earth or that we haven't discovered yet. He has no clue what element they are, what they're made of, and stuff like that. So I'm very curious about the materials, what sector of space they came from, how they got here, and also what other abilities they have. Because so far, all we know is that they can turn you to stone. They have the ability to, once depetrified, heal any and all wounds you have, as well as, I'm assuming, sicknesses. And then on top of that, they can be used as whatever material they are made out of can be used to deflect certain radar sonar signals, right? And stuff like that. And also they can transmit their voice over radio waves. They can imitate voices, and they seem to have some sort of personality. So it's really, really, really interesting. Another theory I had was maybe there is a part where if you are petrified long enough, maybe after millions of years, maybe eventually, like the whole point of the petrification process is after the course of millions of years or something like that, you also turn into Medusas as well. And that's pretty much what they do. They just travel from planet to planet, turning all the intelligent, sentient species into to Medusas, stone statues, and then eventually whatever. Because we talked about the fact that the Medusa like exoskeleton or the stones, whatever, supply energy to the brain, which is why like the material gets brittle, which is why it was brittle enough for like Senku initially to escape out of earlier because of how much thinking and energy the thought like his brain processes were utilizing, right? So maybe eventually after just millennia of that, the best and the brightest, the ones that don't fall asleep, turn actually into the Medusas. Something very interesting I saw on a Reddit post was the fact that the Medusas actually kind of look like biblically accurate or historically accurate depictions of angels. And I remember seeing this back like around the time when I was interested in Devilman Crybaby and some other series, but angels or seraphs aren't what we think they are. A lot of people see angels as humans with these big old wings and like this light and whatnot. But like when I looked up like actual angels or whatever, they looked terrifying. They looked disgusting. Post a picture so you guys can see what I'm talking about, and I'll also post a picture of shoot. I really wish I saved the post. Maybe I'll be able to find it while I'm doing the editing process, but you guys will see what I'm talking about here. So, like, maybe the petrification process turns you into Medusas themselves. And like, I don't know, somehow the diamond battery is maybe carbon based. I forget. Now I'm confusing the story how they made the diamond crystals, how they made fake crystals. I forgot what material they used, but maybe because we're carbon based life forms, our carbon solidifies into those crystals that we use as batteries for our various Medusas. And then once we turn into Medusas, we have enough energy to join the hive and then go and find another planet some way or somehow. I don't know. There's just so much at work here. What else did I have? There's another theory I had. Actually, not so much another theory I had. It was more so along the lines of the one thing I truly, truly do not understand is how their plan to petrify the humans is conducive to humanity developing the technology to save them. It doesn't really make sense because in my head, I'm like, if your whole goal is self-preservation and possibly replication some way, some shape, somehow, I don't know if they can self-replicate, but let's say they can. A lot of people are theorizing about that right now, but I don't really see it. But why would you make the only people able to like possibly help you unable to help you by petrifying them, thus rendering them like useless, immobile? They can't possibly develop technology while they don't have the means in which to work on said technology. So that really, really confused me. That's why I think like that whole thing is a theory of Senku's and not what they actually like are doing, which I'm very excited that at the very end of this chapter, they basically tell us that, okay, now we're going to tell you the why. So you don't even know the who and what technically. We still don't even know the real who and what, but let's just say you know the who and what the Medusa is, but now let's find out the why. And then I also want to learn the how. But like, it just seems counterintuitive to petrify them. Also, we still don't have an explanation as to why no other animal besides, sparrows were petrified. You would think that chimps, as like being biologically close to humans would be as well, even though I know there are other species that are more biologically close to us than chimps, but I'm just giving an example why they were able to survive while other animals are able to survive, but humans and sparrows aren't. Maybe, they use the sparrows just as a testing thing. They like make it work on humans and sparrows, first sparrows to test it and then humans overall. But there is a lot to think about here, and it's actually driving me crazy, and I'm super excited about it. Also, something I want to bring up right now, I am so happy that, like, quote unquote, there was no traitor. The people that thought it was Luna, I'm glad because there was no real stock in it other than her name was Luna. I heard people thought it was the geographer Chelsea for some reason. I heard people thought it was Francois and that Francois was some kind of like ambiguous like being or whatever. My least favorite one that I'm super happy, well, two of my least favorite ones that I'm super happy it wasn't was that it was Kaseki. A lot of people thought he was what's that guy's name? Yokov or whatever, one of the astronauts, and they were like, he's strong, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it doesn't make sense. This dude has been working with him forever. He's been too new, like he's been surprised at the technology. He's a craftsman. Like, I didn't like that theory at all. And the one I hated the absolute most was that it was either Mecha Senku or Senku from the future. And that just didn't make sense to me. Also, I feel like Senku would try to communicate with himself better. Like, none of those really satiated me. And I knew that it was going to be, like I said earlier, an alien or alien AI or both, which turned, and I remember saying, I think last chapter review, I didn't like the idea of it being Medusas, but now that the Medusas technically are what I thought, I'm cool with it, right? But like, that confuses me too, because one, if it's able to talk by itself, because I thought it needed like radio waves. That's why I was using the speaker, and that's how it used their communications. But the one that was floating behind the one in the capsule seemed like the voice seemed to be coming directly from it, right? And so, if they're are they all able to do that, or is this an ability that is unique to that specific Medusa? Maybe it's the Medusa Prime, the leader of them, but also wouldn't his battery be dead? So I don't know. And then all the other Medusas, like kamikaze soldiers, like they know that they're going to die. Also, why do when the humans become depetrified, they petrify them again? Once again, that's the only reason I have that one theory that like eventually like you just keep condensing after a million years and turn into an actual Medusa. But like I don't know. There's just so much to speculate here, and I can't wait for the next chapter and to get all these answers. But yeah, if they were able to speech this entire time, why not just explain their situation? Why not contact us? Why not, petrify like half of the planet, make half of the planet hostage, and be like, hey, if you want us to like give you the answer to like freeing them or saving them or blah 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 blah, I want you guys need to create these crystals at these specs and blah blah blah. Negotiate with us. It's kind of weird to just completely bomb the entirety of the planet. Also, why are they here? Maybe, once again, like I said, maybe they were an ancient civilization where they decided that the best means was to, either transfer their consciousness to these Medusa devices or petrify themselves, turn into these Medusa devices, and then just propagate. All like, the human, the main directive for many a species is self-preservation and, reproduction and continuing the species, right? So maybe they're just completely like, they're no different. That's the same thing for them. So I think I covered everything I wanted to cover in this chapter. This has been honestly quite insane. But yeah, man, at the very end of the chapter, it says, Why man's true identity is the Medusa devices themselves. Petrification offers everlasting life, and by dangling that reward, they spur intelligent life to better itself, to march towards progress. Oh, that reminds me of one last theory, and actually two other things I wanted to talk about. So, first of all, I know I was saying it makes more sense for them not to petrify society, that way like people can work on it, but the sheer fact that in a stone world, Senku was actually not even Senku, it was Joel, the jeweler, the watchmaker, that was actually the real one that found out how the Medusas work. Senku just figured out how to like recreate the crystal or whatever, but he was like, it has to be a flawless crystal, blah blah blah. Like Joel figured that out. So I guess if it was that easy for him to figure out, but like there was no real advancement in technology at all. If anything, it was a regression of technology. Or maybe we're going to learn some really cool things about like ancient Egypt and like how the pyramids were made. Maybe the pyramids are related to the Medusas some way or somehow too. That would be a trip, right? But yeah, so I guess technically you don't really need an advanced civilization, as like I said, Senku and Joel were able to figure out how to power the Medusas, but at the end of the day, that's the extent of it, right? Also, the other thing I was going to say was, when they say eternal life, are they talking about the fact that the Medusas have the power and the ability to completely heal your organs? Maybe the reason they can heal your organs is, once again, I keep going back to you turn into a Medusa idea, but maybe like that's what's happening. Like it's I don't know. I'm gonna skip back that. Sorry, but maybe they think, because maybe if they're not, if my moving the conscious, or maybe it still works. Sorry, I'm like all over the place because this is just so nutty. Maybe because the Medusas have been like this way for millennia, they're just used to life like that, right? Because I used to think like it is insane, it is torture to not be able to move. All you can do is think. But literally, that's what these Medusas do. Literally, like they are just a mass of consciousness. They are a massive consciousness. So maybe they're like, hey, we're trying to give you what we have. Like maybe they're like this is the way to be. We don't need to eat, we don't need to sleep. All we need is a damn crystal, right? But if that's what they need, it's they have a really shitty, terribly designed form, if that's the case. So yeah, maybe they're trying to give the gift of like, join us, become part of our species, become Medusas too. You get to live forever as long as we can keep going to different places and forcing them to make us crystals. But like, yeah, man, I'm gonna leave the review here because I think I touched and covered everything I wanted to, gave all my theories. But yeah, what do you guys think is going to be the rationale behind like what they're doing? Why the best course of action was petrifying the whole, like the all of Earth? Do you think that the Medusas aren't even like the final boss? That there's actually a greater threat than them? And yeah, I mean, I guess that's it. Let me know. Please let me know if I forgot something, because something's bothering me, like in the back of my head. Like, am I missing something? Am I missing something? Like, all I can think about right now is just the time on like Treasure Island where they re-petrified people, and like, why even let Senku get this far? And like, why, like, the main thing that's bothering me is, why not say something earlier? If they are able to actually talk from the Medusas, like I am interpreting that one scene to do, why not say something earlier? Anyway, this has been Otaku Talk. I'm your host, OD. This was a phenomenal chapter. Can't wait for next week. I really can't wait for this series to end. It's on a good track for me. Let me know if you like this twist. Let me know if you liked the Medusas being Dr. Stone, the Medusas themselves. Let me know if you hate it. Let me know what you thought it was going to be. Let me know if you think that was better. Let me know what you think the Medusas are made of. Let me know if you think they're completely an AI. Let me know if you think that they're aliens that transferred their subconsciousness. Let me know what you think about my theory of maybe like after a million years or whatever, like you turn into a Medusa. And yeah, just any and all thoughts and theories you had on this review or your own thoughts and theories. Anyway, this has been Otaku Talk. I'm your host, OD. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. And take care. Peace.